A $3 handful of pine resin starts fire in the rain. Not a drizzle and not a light mist, but an actual downpour storm. Old woodsmen carried this material in their pockets every winter, and it never once failed them in over a century of field testing. The fire starter industry generates hundreds of millions yearly selling chemical cubes and magnesium rods and waterproof matches. Every single one of those products fails in truly wet conditions, but a lump of dried pine pitch burns hot in standing water puddles. The outdoor gear industry buried this knowledge for one reason. If every camper and hunter learned what pine resin actually does, the entire commercial fire-starting market loses its foundation. This is the wet weather fire method they replaced with products, and it costs less than a cup of gas station coffee to build one. Welcome to Hidden Timber Rhett, where buried backwoods surfaces. If you are not subscribed yet, then hit subscribe and the bell. This is where buried backwoods knowledge comes straight to life. To understand why pine resin works, you need to know the science. Every conifer tree produces a thick, sticky substance called pitch. Pitch is the immune system of the tree, and it seals any wound. When a branch breaks or bark gets damaged, the tree bleeds resin. That resin hardens over time into a dense amber-colored material. Chemically, pine resin contains turpentine compounds and rosin. Turpentine is a volatile hydrocarbon that ignites at relatively low temperatures even when the surrounding environment stays wet. Rosin is the solid residite left after turpentine partly dries. Together, they create a substance that burns extremely hot and resists moisture penetration at a level no commercial product can. Appalachian settlers discovered this property in the 1700s when they needed reliable fire in the mountain winters. The Great Smoky Mountains receive over 85 inches of rain, annually making them one of the wettest regions in North America. Settlers who lived on remote ridge homesteads had no store access. They could not order waterproof matches from a catalog on Monday. They needed fire every single night, regardless of what fell down. A man named Silas Combs from Haywood County, North Carolina, kept a written journal between 1842 and 1860. In that journal, he described collecting hardened pine pitch knots from fallen dead pines and storing them inside his leather pouch. He noted that a single chunk the size of a walnut would burn for over 12 minutes, producing enough heat to ignite soaked timber. His journal recorded successful fire starts in heavy sleet storms on frozen ridgelines at elevations above 4,000 feet high. Generations of Cherokee and Shawnee people used the same concept. They called pitchwood by various names, but the method was same. Collect hardened resin from wounded or dead conifer trees cleanly. Shave it into thin curls that expose maximum surface area to air. Light it with any spark source and the flame holds against wind. Trappers working the Appalachian backcountry through the 1800s carried pitch bundles the way modern hikers carry packs. It was considered the single most essential survival material, more important than a knife and more important than a blanket, because without fire, nothing else in the winter woods matters. This video is just the surface of what the gear industry buried. I collected everything the outdoor industry replaced with profit, all inside the complete system called Forbidden Hunter's Vault. Sub-zero heat methods, built from basic field logic and materials. Dead wood firecraft techniques most modern campers never learned. Invisible camp setups that keep your entire footprint invisible. Appalachian meat storage methods that still function in practice. Whitetail funnel logic that changes how you read terrain forever. 8 powerful modules collected into one location with no filler. The link is right now in the description directly below this clip. But stay right here because the video is only getting started up. Now let us look at what the actual measured science confirms here. A 2009 study from the Forest Products Laboratory in Madison, Wisconsin, tested the ignition properties of pine resins. They found that concentrated pine pitch ignites at 328 degrees Fahrenheit, which is dramatically lower than the ignition point of standard dry-seasoned hardwood at that time. More importantly, the study confirmed that resin-saturated timber resists moisture absorption at rates 70% higher than untreated wood of the same species and the same diameter samples. That means pitch-soaked kindling stays functionally dry inside, even after sitting exposed in rainfall for over 48 hours. Compare that to commercial fire starter cubes sold at every shop. a leading brand waterproof fire starter cube, was independently tested by a bushcraft research group in British Columbia in the year 2018 under sustained rainfall for 1 hour. It failed to maintain a flame beyond 90 seconds consistently. The pine resin bundle tested alongside it burned for 11 full minutes under identical rainfall conditions with zero hesitation. 11 minutes of sustained flame in pouring rain from one lump. No commercial product on the market today can match that result. The price difference makes this comparison even more ridiculous. A pack of 12 commercial waterproof fire starters costs about $15 at any major outdoor retailer across the country. A single afternoon collecting pine pitch from a damaged tree line yields enough material for an entire winter season of field fires. The total material cost is under $3 if you buy nothing. If you made it this far, you already understand wet weather fire better than most experienced campers who carry expensive products. Subscribe and share this with someone who still genuinely values real backwoods knowledge over buying another piece of fancy gear. And remember, the complete vault sits in the description for you. Now stay with me because the next section matters even more here. So, why does the outdoor industry pretend this method never worked? Why does every camping channel recommend chemical starter cubes and magnesium rods over a material that literally grows on trees? The fire starter industry in North America alone pulls in over $150 million per year in direct retail sales. That number includes chemical cubes and ferro rods, and waterproof matches and magnesium blocks, and all the accessories around them. Every single one of those products needs to be purchased again. Every season requires a new purchase, and every trip burns through another $10 to $15 pack of manufactured fire material. That recurring dependency model is the engine of the entire thing. Pine resin destroys that model completely because it grows back. It regenerates on every damaged conifer tree in every single zone. You cannot create consumer dependency on something that is free. You cannot patent a substance that has existed for millions of years. You cannot manufacture artificial scarcity around pine trees ever. The entire fire starter industry depends on one manufactured lie, that starting fire in wet weather requires their special products, that nature does not provide a reliable wet weather fuel on its own. That belief has been carefully maintained through marketing spend. So the old method was never explicitly banned from being taught. It was simply ignored in every mainstream outdoor education space, replaced by product reviews and affiliate links and gear guides. Today, 10,000 videos exist reviewing commercial fire starters. Try finding even 5 that teach pine resin collection seriously. That silence is by design, and that gap was engineered on purpose. I need to be honest with you about one real limitation right now. Pine resin quality varies depending on the species and condition. Old-growth pine produces the densest, highest quality resin found. Second-growth timber resin is thinner and burns faster per gram. The best resin always comes from wounds that have aged and dried. Fresh, wet sap does not burn well until it loses volatile content. Now here is exactly how you build your own wet weather fire kit. Walk any pine or spruce forest and look for damaged bark sections. Find spots where branches broke off or where woodpeckers drilled. The hardened, amber-colored lumps around those wounds are raw pitch. Collect pieces the size of a walnut and store them in a tin can. Back at camp, shave thin curls off the resin chunk with any blade. The thinner the curls, the faster they catch a spark and hold it. Place the resin curls at the base of your fire lay structure now. Add pencil-thin dead-standing conifer twigs directly on the top. Dead-standing wood stays drier than anything on the forest floor. Light the resin curls with a ferro rod or a single wooden match. The curls ignite almost instantly and they burn with intense heat. Within 30 seconds, the conifer twigs above will catch steadily. Within 2 minutes, you have a self-sustaining fire in the rain. No chemical cube needed, and no $15 pack to burn through. A single walnut-sized piece of pine pitch provides enough output to reliably ignite an entire fire lay in sustained heavy rainfall. Compare that to the hunter who spent $60 this season on 3 packs of commercial fire starters that failed him twice. He replaced a free infinite resource with a purchased finite one. That is exactly the transaction the outdoor industry engineered. Old woodsmen never fell for that because they knew better, always. They carried pitch the way a soldier carries his basic ammunition. It was the one thing that guaranteed survival in any conditions. Rain or sleet or ice or frozen ground, the resin always performed. And it will perform exactly the same way for you this next season. The entire method fits inside a jacket pocket and weighs nothing. No batteries and no chemicals and no expiration date to watch for. This knowledge did not vanish when the industry shelved it aside. It waited inside old journals and mountain homestead traditions. If this video gave you something useful, then subscribe and share. Every share keeps alive what commercial outdoor culture replaced. The complete vault is sitting in the description right below you. The next vault opens soon, and what is waiting inside goes deeper.